All right. What is up, everybody? LinkedIn, YouTube. Super excited to be back with you again. Another BizBuzz live. Hope everybody's doing well. Apologize for the tardiness, but business always comes first, right? Business comes first. Either way, hey, on today's show, we're gonna continue to have the conversation around what the World Economic Forum started to talk about when it comes to the skills that are going to be needed, the skills that are going to be needed in order for us to continue to stay employable over the next 5 to 10 years. So stick around. That's right. What's up, y'all? It's Chris back, your financial coach, financial therapist, helping you through all things finance, back with another BizBuzz live here on LinkedIn and YouTube. Super excited to be with you guys today. Again, as always, the thesis of this show has been, since I've been working with people financially for a long time, inevitably, whether they come to me for their investments or their insurance or getting out of debt or saving money, it doesn't matter. Inevitably, the conversation comes back around to their cash flow, how much is coming in and where is it actually going. And a lot of times in the financial space, we focus on the where it's going. We focus on your expenses. You hear the people in the finance space say things like, stop buying your latte every morning, or make sure you have a cash bag or whatever the cash envelope system is to save money, or, whatever their tips and tricks are of how to keep more of the money that's coming in. That's typically a lot of the conversation that you're hearing people have in the financial space. But for us on the other side, what we're thinking about is, how are you making money? It's great to think about how you are able to save more or keep more or set aside more or any of those things. But the real question is, how are you making money? Right? Like, how are you actually bringing in income? And so most people know they make income from their job. Maybe you're a high paid employee and you have that one stream of income and that's your job. And then what happens, right, when you lose that stream of income? Or what happens when they choose to instead of giving you a raise, they choose to reduce your position or move you to a different location? Then what options do you have? And a lot of times we don't have many options, but that's one way to make money. Some people have a job that is not high paid and they're just still barely scraping by. This is why we're having these conversations a lot about millennials and people that are Gen Z specifically, that are saying, like, is it worth having a job? Like, if I can barely get by with paying my bills and all these things with a job, like, does it make sense, or should I branch out and try to figure out something that I can do for myself that allows my talents and abilities to really be at the forefront, and that I actually like doing, that I actively enjoy doing? So that's why that thought is out there as well. Maybe people are in the gig economy. Maybe you just kind of bounce. You do a little Uber, you do a little this, you do a little that. You make little bits of money here and there, but maybe you need something bigger that has the horsepower to get you to where you want to go. Maybe that could be you. Or maybe, again, you're just a full-bred entrepreneur. You've got businesses and you're just trying to figure out, how do I continue to grow and scale and get to the place that I want to go so that I have more cash flow, more income coming in, that it can go to all the right places. But regardless, this show is here to figure those things out, to talk about those things that are happening, whether it be in the corporate world, corporate America, whether it be in, with the federal government, because, they had a bunch of layoffs and people still laying people off. We look at different sectors like education. We talk about some of the upcoming sectors and things that you should be paying attention to, whether it be in the trades, whether it be around AI or any of those things. And so that's what we're talking about now. A couple of weeks ago, we looked at the report from the World Economic Forum that said, that gave a list of 10 core skills that people are going to need in order to be employable, to stay employable over the next 10 years, like 5 to 10 years. And some of those things, I'll read them for you. The 10 core skills were analytical thinking, creative thinking, resilience, flexibility, and agility, motivation and self-awareness, curiosity and lifelong learning, technological literacy, dependability and attention to detail, empathy and active listening, leadership and social influence, and quality control. Those were the 10 core skills they said you're going to need. Now, most of those things aren't things that you're getting from school, or you are maybe even practicing on a daily basis if you have a job, like a desk job or something that just you're doing kind of rote things. Analytical thinking and creative thinking are two of the top two core skills that people, employers, are going to be requiring in order for you to stay employable, for you to stay ahead of the curve, for you to make more money, for you to get the promotion or get the raise or whatever you're looking for. Those are some skill sets, and those are the things, some of the things we're going to talk about today on today's show. Last week, if you didn't see it, go back. It's still up on our LinkedIn, up on my LinkedIn here, and then also saved on our YouTube. We talked about the motivation, self-awareness side, the curiosity, and the lifelong learning side. I said last week, hey, these are skill sets of the entrepreneur. Right? The motivation and self-awareness and the curiosity and lifelong learning, those are skill sets of people that are actively growing businesses or branching out and doing things themselves. Those are the things that they need. So why would an employer now need that? Is it because we're getting into more of an entrepreneurial minded society? Do they know that, man, your ability to personally grow and be proactive, be proactive in your behavior and your habits and those things, that's really what jobs are going to look for? The curiosity and lifelong learning allows you to continuously develop your skill set. So we don't have people that only have one skill set and do the same thing over and over again. What does the World Economic Forum know that you don't know? So we talked about that last week. This week, again, we're talking about how to improve your analytical and creative thinking. If these are two of the top 10 core skills that people need to make sure that they have some employment over the next 10 years, or they're able to be highly sought after in the job market, well, then how do you build those things? First off, what is analytical thinking? It's identified as one of the most crucial skills, just so you know, the analytical thinking side. It emphasizes the ability to analyze information and solve complex problems. The ability, again, to analyze information and solve complex problems. If currently at your job right now, you are not analyzing information and solving complex problems, this is a skill set now you're going to need to create. You're going to need to create something in yourself that says, hey, I know how to solve some complex problems. What are some ways? What are some ways to improve your analytical thinking? Number one, you should learn basic data analysis or statistics. Like, you should learn basic data analysis. It can be across anything that you want to do, anything that you are interested in. It doesn't have to be what you get paid for right now, but if you're trying to build these skills for yourself, you got to start learning. You got to start learning basic data analysis, basic statistics. Could be with numbers, could be with just analysis. You put some, things together about the top restaurants and what people are saying about the top restaurants. You go on Yelp or Google and you take a analysis of all of the reviews, and you decide kind of what might be best for you to go eat that day, or whatever the case is. But learning basic data analysis, like, how do you take in data? You can practice that. Okay. Number two, another thing, take a logic or critical thinking course. Remember, if you don't know how to do these things, there's a great school called YouTube University. We happen to be on it right now. YouTube University will help you learn anything you don't know. Anything you don't know. So if maybe you need a critical thinking course, maybe you need a system to say, okay, here's how I start to develop this critical thinking. So those are two ways you can do it. You learn some basic data analysis, maybe take a course or two in critical thinking or logic. And here's a third one: engage in thoughtful discussions, thoughtful debates. Thoughtful, not mindless, not pop culture things, technically, but things that cause you to think. Get around people that challenge your thinking, and that could help you create some better analytical thinking, because people that challenge your thinking typically will have some facts to back some things up. And so if you get good at learning how to debate those people, to give your take, to take in theirs, to think about it, it's going to help you create some of these skill sets, these analytical skill sets for you. Could also, right, just get an app on your phone. There's probably a bunch of apps that can help you with your critical thinking. But just know this is important. If you want to go off and, be employed in 2029, they're probably going to start giving you some type of tests around how critical are you thinking? Do you have critical thinking skills? Do you have critical thinking abilities? So just getting you prepared. The other side is the the creative thinking side. So we had analytical thinking. Now the other is creative thinking. Creative thinking. The creative thinking is valued for innovation and generating new ideas. Companies are going to want you to be able to think outside the box, to generate new ideas, to think differently. So, how do you develop some of these creative thinking skills? If you're the person that's like, I'm not creative, first off, I'll tell you, that's a lie, right? You are very creative. We are born creative. Your brain is meant to create. You're born to create. This is why kids love Legos and coloring and all the things that you can build with, that all the things you can create with. You take a child, you take a healthy child that is just learning the world and learning how to do things. They are creative. They put this on top of this and mix it with this. You ever seen kids that eat like really weird combinations? Somebody puts, ketchup on ice cream or something. Why? It's because they're creative. They're trying to think about things differently. Just basic stuff of drawing or doing kinetic or playing with kinetic sand. My daughter, right, just got out of her phase of playing with kinetic sand, but it's because they can create things with it. So if you believe you're not creative, let's start with the thinking process there and say, no, you are very creative. You might just be distracted. You might not have time to sit down and create. You might not have made it a priority to create things, but you are very creative. So here's some ways, again, to continue to improve your creative thinking. First, explore some art forms. Art is one of the ways we can be creative, even into your adulthood. Drawing, music, writing, like anything that gets some creative energies flowing in you. Explore them. Try something new. Again, if you feel like you're not creative, you probably got to break out of a bit of your comfort zone to get creative. That's all. Explore these different art forms. Go take an art class. Try to spend 20 minutes drawing. Spend 30 minutes listening and writing some music. Spend 30 minutes writing a story, a novel, anything. But exploring different art will help you become more creative. That's, again, why I think kids are super creative, is because we give them art all the time. All the time. It's art project here. Construct this, color this, paint this, draw this, right? We're always giving them some type of art. And that's why maybe their minds are a little bit more creative than the adult is. Okay. So that's one. Here's something that's a little bit that many people don't know. Like, take some walks. Like, get out in nature, like move without consuming things and start to just let your mind wander. When you take a walk and you are seeing things, but you're not listening to something, or your head is in your phone, or you're talking to somebody on the phone, if you just walk and you let your mind wander, you will get back to some creative state. You will get back to some form of a creative state where now you can think a little bit differently and be a little bit more creative. Again, the reason why we're talking about this, because this is going to keep you employed. Remember, these are the shows we're talking about, how to keep money coming in, how to make income, right? How to bring money in. So you got to know that if you want to keep money coming in, whether you're an entrepreneur or whether you have a job, these are the skill sets that you got to practice now, that you got to work on in order for you to be able to, again, design the life that you want by making all the income that you want. So again, take a walk. Let your mind wander a bit. Let your mind wander. Okay. Here's another way for creative to improve your creative thinking. Right. Collaborate with people outside of your field. Collaborate with people outside of your field. Talk about what's important to them. Do you have a lawyer friend? Do you have a creative friend, right, that does marketing, or they're a creative? Do you have someone that, is an educator? Do you have somebody, like, talk to people outside of your field, and it'll help you start seeing things a little bit differently. It'll help you start to understand things a little bit differently. And those are some things that you got to work on. So again, the thesis for today, you got to improve your analytical thinking and your creative thinking. You got to make sure that you're putting yourself in a position to constantly make money. We don't want to be put into a position where we only have one skill set and now that skill set is no longer needed. At one point in time, someone's profession was a cobblestoner. And that's the only thing they knew. And then one day, we no longer needed cobblestones. At one point in time, being a horseshoe maker, someone that just made horseshoes, was very popular because everyone rode around on horses. And then one day, that profession was no longer needed. That skill set was no longer needed. The World Economic Forum is telling you guys that these are the skill sets you're going to need to stay at the top of your fields long term. This list changes, but for now, over the next 5 at least, these are the things you got to practice. Again, I'll run through the entire list again, but today we specifically talked about analytical and creative thinking. But the list is, again, 10 core skills. Analytical thinking, we just went through. Your ability to analyze information and solve complex problems. If you're not practicing how to solve these complex problems, you need to do that. You need to, read articles that challenge your perspective. You need to be able to learn basic data analysis or statistic. You need to take a logic or a critical thinking class, right? You need to be able to engage in thoughtful debate. Those are things for analytical thinking that we talked about. Number 2 core skill says creative thinking. Again, valued for innovation and generating new business ideas. How do you continue to increase your creative thinking? You got to change your environment. Take a walk. Let your mind explore different art forms, do some more drawing, some more music, some more writing, ask better questions, talk to people that are outside of your industry. That's how you're going to be able to now get your creative juices flowing. But those are 2 of the core skill sets. Then there was resilience, flexibility, and agility. There's motivation, self-awareness, curiosity, and lifelong learning, technological literacy, dependability and attention to detail, empathy and active listening, leadership and social influence, and quality control. These are what the World Economic Forum believes you're going to need in order to stay employable, in order to keep making money. So I want to be able to help you with those things. Again, regardless of where you are right now, you probably just need to bring in a little bit more money. Regardless of where you are right now, you probably just need to bring in some more money. Sure, part of it is you need to learn how to keep more of the money that you're making. Absolutely. But for the large majority of you here on LinkedIn, here on YouTube, you probably just need to make more money. You probably need to get to a place. And even if, again, I tell people this all the time, I work with higher income earners that are on a W 2. Well, they need to make more money off of a W 2. That's what I tell them all the time. You're on a W 2. You make $300,000, depending on what state you're living in. Government's taking 40 to 50% of that. You make $500,000, depending on what state you live in. The government's taking 40 to 50% of that. So if you make 500, you're only bringing home 250. If you make 300, you're only bringing home 150. That's because you're on a W-2. So you need to go make more on a 1099 in investments, in real estate, in businesses, in equities. You need to make money outside of your W-2. That's for high income earners. That's for people, those of you that aspire to make $250,000 a year, $500,000 a year at your corporate job. Sure, you're just going to get taxed out the wazoo. You're just going to get taxed like crazy. So you need to make more money outside of it. Some of you aren't anywhere close to that type of income and hope that you would get there, but you also just need to make more money. So we need to understand how to go do it. World Economic Forum is telling you you need some analytical and some creative thinking ability. If you don't have those, if that's not what you're practicing right now, take the rest of this year and practice it. Practice analytical thinking. Practice your creative thinking. Last week, I talked about motivation and self-awareness. How do you get more motivation? How do you practice self-awareness? Talked about being a lifelong learner. How do you practice being curious? What environments do you put yourself in to be more curious so that you can now become a lifelong learner? If this is what they're saying is needed for you to be employed, it probably makes sense to focus on those things, y'all. I want y'all to do well. I want to make sure that you have the information that you need in order to make sure that you can have the income you need to make sure your financial life is good. You got to have the information. You got to apply the information so that you can then go off and be able to do all the things that you need to do financially for yourself and your family. I'm here. I'm around every single Friday. BizBuzz Live, LinkedIn, and YouTube. We're going to be here. Follow me on any other platform also, where you'll see different types of content from me, but typically all around money, business, family, all those types of things, because those are the things that are important. And we're just here to be able to serve as a financial coach, somebody that can help you in your financial journey, as a financial strategist, somebody that can help put all the pieces in place for you, making sure that your CPA talks to your financial advisor, talks to your tax planner. Everyone should have communication in your financial life. If you're hearing this and your CPA does not talk to your financial advisor, that's a problem. Imagine running a company. Imagine running a company where all of your employees are independent and none of them ever communicate to you. How successful do you think you would be? Right? Not successful at all. Yeah, we do that in our financial life. We talk to one person about one thing, we talk to another person about another thing, but we don't bring them all together. That's what we do as financial strategists, as somebody that can help coach you down the path. We're going to pull them all together, make sure they're working for you to get to your goals and dreams. This show is really making sure your cash flow is intact so that you can go off and build all the things you want. All right, ladies and gentlemen, happy Friday. It's May 30th. We'll see you back here next month. Next month will be June. In the next couple of days, it'll be June. So we'll see you here next month. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Peace.